The training center on Mars Base 12 was quiet that day. The red dust outside floated slowly in the wind. Inside the building, human soldiers were doing basic drills, push-ups, combat moves, timing exercises. Everything was normal, until the door slammed open. 4 alien guards entered, followed by a tall, powerful figure. His skin was like grey stone. His eyes glowed gold. He wore armor made from a rare crystal only found on his home planet, Krazoth. He was known as Commander Kror, the war champion of his people. He had won more than 70 battles. His fists had crushed metal. His voice could silence a crowd. Everyone in the training room stopped. Kror didn't say hello. He walked straight into the center of the floor, between the human trainees, and stared. "You call this a warrior program?" he said loudly. The human soldiers looked at each other. No one answered. Kror laughed. "This is a joke. Look at you, soft, slow, weak bones, no claws, no scales. You think you can join the galaxy's army? Humans are not fighters. You are insects." One human stepped forward. She was not the biggest, not the strongest, just calm. Her name was Sergeant Ray. Kror looked at her and grinned. "You're the leader?" She nodded once. No anger, no fear. Kror raised his voice again. "I will give you a chance. Hit me. One free shot. Show me your strength, little human." Ray shook her head. "I don't need to." Kror growled. "Then I will show you." In one fast move, Kror's right arm flashed forward. His fist hit Ray full in the chest. The room gasped, but Ray didn't fall. She didn't even blink. She didn't step back. She didn't touch her chest. She didn't move at all. Kror's grin slowly disappeared. The silence in the room was heavy. Everyone stared, waiting for Ray to collapse. But she just stood there, calm, still, breathing slow. Kror took one step back. His guards looked confused. They had seen their commander punch through steel. What just happened? Ray looked up and met Kror's eyes. That single glance made Kror freeze. He didn't understand it. Her eyes were not angry, not afraid, just steady, unmoving, like she wasn't even looking at him, but at something deeper, something behind him. His chest felt tight. His claws curled without command. Something was wrong. "You dare to—" he started to shout, but his voice cracked halfway. The human soldiers watched in shock. Not because Ray was strong, but because of the fear slowly growing in Kror's face. Ray spoke quietly. "Is the demonstration over?" Kror didn't reply. She took one step forward. He took 2 steps back. Then he turned around and left, fast. His guards had to run to keep up. The door slammed again, and just like that, he was gone. The room was silent again, but this time the silence was full of questions. Ray went back to her corner and started doing push-ups like nothing happened. The other humans stared at her. Some smiled, some whispered, others looked scared. 2 hours later, Galactic News. Hub, a shaky camera feed spread through alien space. Title: Krazoth Warlord strikes human and walks away shaken. Views: 3.2 million in the first hour. The video showed Kror's punch. Ray standing still. The look in Kror's eyes as he backed away. Comment sections filled with confusion. She must be enhanced. Maybe the punch didn't land. Is this fake? But some knew better. An old Threx general commented, "I've seen this before. That's not strength. That's control. True danger." Meanwhile, inside Kror's ship, Kror sat in silence. He stared at his hand, the same hand that hit her. He didn't speak. His second-in-command tried to ask, "Commander, are you hurt?" Kror answered with a whisper, "No, I am not hurt." Then what happened? Kror closed his eyes. I don't know. But he did know. He felt something, not pain, not weakness, but like something inside him was seen, exposed. Ray didn't move because she didn't need to. She had nothing to prove. Her calm wasn't normal. It was something else, something alien to him. He clenched his jaw. I need to know what she is. Earth Military Command Center, 4 hours later. Who is Ray? Asked a deep voice from the speaker. General Hollis answered. Just one of our sergeants. Standard training. No special tools. You're lying, the alien voice replied. No standard human stands after a Krazoth strike. Hollis smirked. She did. The alien voice lowered. Then she is dangerous. Hollis looked into the camera calmly. Only if provoked. Back on Mars base, 12 night had fallen. The red sky faded into stars. Ray sat alone on the rooftop, drinking water, watching the moons rise. A young recruit walked up to her. Sergeant, what happened today? She looked at him. He tested me. Yeah. But you didn't fight. I didn't need to. Were you scared? She thought for a second. Then shook her head. I wasn't scared of him, she said. Then what were you scared of? She looked at the stars. That I might have to fight. The recruit was silent. Strength isn't about hitting harder, she added. It's about knowing when not to hit. He nodded slowly. So, what now? Ray stood up. Now? They'll come back. More like him? She didn't answer. She walked back inside, leaving him under the stars. It started as a rumor. A story told in bars, cargo docks, and spaceports. Did you see it? That Krazoth warlord, Kror, he hit a human soldier. And she didn't even blink. Didn't fall. Didn't move. Liar. I saw the footage. Within 2 days, the clip had crossed 12 sectors. Every species was watching it on repeat. Some laughed, some shrugged. But the warriors, the soldiers, the real fighters, they didn't laugh. They watched the moment frame by frame, the punch, the human. Her stillness. The way Kror backed away. They saw something different, something that made their skin crawl. On board the Zalari ship Blood, Ember Captain Vroth, leader of the elite alien unit known as the Ember Claws, was reviewing the video for the 6th time. His green scales glowed under the red lights of the ship's bridge. She didn't flinch. He muttered. His second-in-command, Zun, stepped forward. We've seen tricks before. Maybe armor under her skin? No. Vroth said. There's something else. Not defense, not strength. It's her mind. Then what do we do? Vroth turned to the rest of the squad. Command wants us to investigate. No war, no weapons. Just enter their base. Observe her. Test her. Understand what she is. Zun looked uneasy. And if she attacks? Vroth's voice was cold. Then we learn what fear really looks like. Earth. Mars base. 12 Ray was doing slow pull-ups, alone. No one trained beside her anymore. Not because they were scared of her, but because they didn't understand her. She never talked much, never shouted orders, but when she looked at you, it felt like she saw everything. Your fear, your pain, your weakness. 3 days later, arrival. The Ember Claws arrived at Mars Base 12. They came in peace, or that's what they claimed. The human officers watched them with suspicion. 8 alien warriors, tall, armored, experienced. They didn't smile. They didn't speak much either. General Hollis greeted them. You're here to observe? Yes, Captain Vroth answered. We're not here for war, but his eyes scanned the field, searching. Where is she? He asked. Hollis didn't answer. He just nodded toward the far end of the base. There she was, Ray, sitting alone, calm as always. The first encounter Vroth walked up to her with slow, careful steps. You are Sergeant Ray, he said. She nodded. I am Captain Vroth of the Ember Claws. I wish to understand what happened with Commander Kror. She looked at him, eyes steady. You saw the video? Yes. Then you already know. He frowned. I want to see it up close. She stood slowly. Follow me. The observation. They entered a small training hall. No weapons, no audience, just Rey and the alien warriors. She stood in the center, arms down, no defense stance, no movement. Vroth stepped in first. I won't strike, he said. Just observe. He walked around her slowly. She didn't follow him with her eyes. She just waited. Zun entered next. Then the others. For 10 minutes they surrounded her, and something strange happened. One by one, each Ember Claw warrior began to feel watched. Even when Rey wasn't looking at them, Vroth finally stopped. She's doing something, Zun whispered. No, Vroth replied. She's doing nothing, and that's what scares us. The fear test Zun spoke up. Let's test her. Mental scan, basic fear probe. Vroth nodded. One of the team, Krell, stepped forward. He had mind-reading abilities, basic but effective on most species. He reached toward Rey with a silver device. The moment the scan touched her skin, he gasped. His hand flew back. His body shook. She's not human, he said, voice trembling. Or if she is, she's not normal. What did you see? Vroth asked. Krell's eyes were wide. It wasn't her memory. It was mine. But twisted, like she was showing me my worst thoughts. She didn't even move, Zun whispered. No, Vroth said. She didn't have to. That night back on their ship, the Ember Claws sat in silence. No one spoke. Finally, Vroth said, she's not trained for war. She's something else. Something Earth is hiding. Zun asked quietly. Should we report this as a threat? Vroth shook his head. Not yet. I want to try again. This time I'll speak to her. No scan, no test. Just words. The second meeting. Next morning, Rey stood near the base fence watching the Martian sky. Vroth approached, slower this time. You've caused a lot of noise, he said. Rey looked at him. I didn't cause anything. He hit me. Vroth paused. You didn't fight back. I didn't need to. Why? She looked at him with that same quiet stare. Because the real fight hadn't started yet. Vroth felt cold. What do you mean? I mean, fear is louder than war. And right now it's spreading. Elsewhere, Galactic Council ship. The video clip now played in council chambers. Some demanded Earth be warned, others wanted Rey arrested. But no one could agree. She's dangerous, one said. She's not violent, another argued. She broke Craw without lifting a hand. No, he broke himself. That line echoed in the chamber. Back on Mars. Final test. The Ember Claws tried one last thing. They placed Rey in a simulated war room. High stress, explosions, flashing lights. All meant to trigger fear. She sat calmly through it all. When it ended, one warrior vomited. Rey stood without a scratch. She didn't even sweat. Zun whispered. Vroth watched her walk out of the room. She doesn't fight us. She undoes. Us, ending scene. Whisper across the galaxy, the Ember Claws, left without speaking to anyone else. But the whispers grew louder. The human didn't fight. The human didn't speak much. The human didn't blink. But somehow, she broke one of the strongest warriors in the galaxy. And now the strongest forces were beginning to fear the quiet ones, the ones who didn't shout, didn't punch, didn't even move. Because sometimes, silence hits the hardest. Deep within the galaxy, on a hidden moon called Zereth, the Galactic Defense Council held an emergency meeting. They sat in a dark chamber. 12 alien leaders from 12 war-hardened species. No one laughed, no one moved. A single hologram played on the center table, the footage of Rey, the human who didn't blink after a punch from Commander Craw. The clip ended. Silence followed. Then a voice said, "We need to know what she is." "Human," another replied. "No," the first leader snapped. "Humans cry, they bleed, they scream. She did none of that." Another council member stood. He had silver skin and long, dark eyes. "Let me test her," he said. "Give me full access. I will find her limits." His name was Drac Vol, a master of mental manipulation. A former interrogator who broke warlords using nothing but fear and time. The council agreed. Earth, Mars base, 12 3 days later, a long, black ship landed quietly on the edge of the base. From it stepped Drac Vol and 2 guards. He was tall, thin, calm like a shadow. He didn't shout or smile. He moved like someone who already knew the end of every conversation. General Hollis walked out to meet him. "We didn't call for more guests." "You didn't need to," Drac replied. "The galaxy did." Hollis frowned. "She's not a prisoner." Drac nodded. "Then I'll treat her like a guest." Inside the black room, they didn't lock Ray up, but they did ask her to enter a room. With padded walls, soft lights, and no windows. She didn't ask why. She walked in, sat down, and waited. Drac entered a moment later. No tools. No weapons, just a chair. He sat across from her and folded his hands. "You know why I'm here?" She nodded. "To test me. Not your strength," he said. "Your fear." Ray didn't reply. Drac leaned forward. "Everyone is afraid of something." She looked at him calmly. "Yes," he smiled. "So let's find what makes you afraid." The mind game begins. The walls of the room began to shift. Slowly, silently, the lights dimmed. A soft hum filled the air, designed to create pressure in the brain. Drac's voice became a whisper. He showed her images, flashing screens around her. Death, fire, screams, planets burning. None of it changed Ray's face. He changed the sound. Now it was people begging, crying. Her own face edited into every scene, still no reaction. He leaned closer. "Do you feel anything?" "Yes," Ray said quietly. Drac's eyes narrowed. "Fear?" "No, I feel pity." "For what?" "For you." That made him stop. The personal attack Drac changed his method. He began reading into her memories, pulling from her mind. Not physically, but mentally, using advanced technology hidden under the floor. He saw flashes, Ray as a child, standing alone in the rain. No family. He pulled harder. Ray, older now, being told she couldn't join the army, that she was too quiet, too calm, too strange. He went deeper. He found the moment she changed, a war zone, humans dying, Ray walking through bullets, like she didn't see them. And then he was thrown back. The machine sparked. He gasped and fell from his chair. Ray hadn't moved. She hadn't said a word. Outside, observation room. The 2 guards watching were stunned. "What just happened?" one whispered. "She didn't touch him." "She doesn't have to." Drac recovers. He stood up slowly, breathing hard. Sweat on his face. "You locked something inside yourself," he whispered. "Something dark." Ray stood too. "I don't lock it away. I carry it." Drac shook his head. "That much pain should break you." "It did once," Ray said. "But I kept walking." Drac stared at her, truly afraid now. "You're not a soldier," he whispered. "You're something we don't have a word for." Message to the Council. Drac left Mars Base 12 that same night. He didn't finish the test. He didn't speak to the press. He didn't give interviews. He sent a simple message to the Galactic Council. "You cannot measure her. You cannot break her. You can only choose to leave her alone." Back on base, the talk General Hollis found Ray watching the stars again. "You all right?" She nodded. "What did he show you?" "Nothing I hadn't already seen." "You're becoming a story, Ray." I didn't ask to be. You think they'll stop coming? She looked at him. No, but they'll come slower. Elsewhere in the galaxy, a bounty was placed quietly, not to kill Rey, to study her. Many powerful groups were interested now, pirate lords, black market labs, even rogue AIs, but no one dared move yet. The story was spreading faster than their fear. Final scene. Young recruit. A young human recruit walked up to Rey in the hallway. Can I ask something? She nodded. Do you feel anything? Ever? Like, really scared? Rey thought for a long moment. Then she said, Fear is normal, but I don't let it speak louder than my purpose. The recruit frowned. What is your purpose? She looked him in the eyes. To stand still when no one else can. Across the stars, the story of the quiet human woman, Rey, kept growing. First, it was just a clip. Then, it became a warning. Now, it had become a prize. On the dark web of the galaxy, known only as the Veil, a message appeared. Bounty active. Subject, human female, Rey. Capture alive. Reward, 8 million units. No questions, no trace. The bounty had no sender name, but everyone knew. If someone was offering that much money, they were afraid, and the galaxy had no shortage of hunters. Chapter 1. The first hunters, they arrived 1 week later. 3 ships. No flags, no IDs, just dark metal and silent drives. They landed far from Mars Base 12, on a nearby abandoned mining rock called Gravik 4. Inside their lead ship stood the bounty team leader, Varix, a bounty hunter from the reptilian Kesari species. Cold. Fast. Brutal. He'd captured warlords, rebels, and even a half-AI queen once. Human, he hissed, watching the footage of Rey again. She doesn't even flinch. This'll be fun. Beside him, his partner Fens laughed. You think she's pretending? No, I think she's worse than the stories say. Chapter 2. Luring the Quiet One. The bounty hunters knew they couldn't storm Mars Base 12. Not yet, so they sent a fake message, a false human distress signal from Gravik 4. Simple, emotional. Medical emergency, civilian trapped, no oxygen. It worked. Base 12 received the call. Hollis frowned at the signal. Could be fake. Rey looked at the screen. I'll go. Hollis hesitated. Why you? Because they're not ready for me. She left with 2 medtechs, quietly, no weapons, just a pack and her calm walk. Chapter 3. The Trap. The moment Rey stepped onto Gravik 4, the signal cut off. The medtechs realized too late. It wasn't real. Varix was waiting with cloaked drones. Gas filled the air. One medtech dropped, then the other. But Rey just stood, eyes calm. Drones surrounded her. High-voltage nets buzzed in the air. Down on your knees, Varix shouted, stepping out. She didn't move. I said, he started again. She looked at him. Just one look, and something cold touched his spine. He blinked. The net launcher trembled in his hand. I'm not afraid, he growled. Fens shouted, Fire! The drones attacked, but Rey didn't dodge. She stepped forward. Chapter 4. Broken hunters. The drones fired. Nets wrapped around Rey. Electricity surged, but the wires shorted instantly. Her skin, no. Her energy, something else. One drone exploded. Rey grabbed the second drone's arm, crushed it in silence, and tossed it into the third. The hunters ran. Fens tried to fire again. Rey was already in front of him. She touched his helmet. He collapsed, screaming. Varix backed away. What are you? Rey took one step closer. He dropped his weapon and fled into the cave tunnels. Chapter 5. The Broadcast. What Varix didn't know was this. A small Earth recon satellite had recorded it all, the entire bounty trap. Rays, calm, the collapsing hunters. Back on Earth, the footage was reviewed and leaked. Within hours, it went viral across 12 planets. Now it wasn't just a rumor, it was truth. Chapter 6. Reaction from the Starzon. The warship Draunar, a commander of the Naxian Empire, watched the video. Cancel all Earth invasion plans, he ordered. But sir, do it. If one human can do this, how many more are they hiding? In a black market moonport, another group of bounty hunters watched the same video. They shut their laptops. This job ain't worth it. One muttered. A few, though, weren't scared. They were curious. Chapter 7. Ray returns. Ray walked back into Mars Base 12 alone. Hollis was waiting. You were ambushed. Yes. Did you kill them? No. Just stop them. He stared at her for a moment. You know more will come now. She nodded. They always do. Chapter 8. The Council reacts. The Galactic Council met again, this time not in secret. Earth is becoming too dangerous, one member said. Another replied, no, she is. We must act. But how do you fight someone who doesn't fight? They all turned to the screen again. Ray, silent, calm, surrounded, unmoved, and this time they noticed something they hadn't before. It wasn't just her strength. It was that she made others break themselves. Chapter 9. A new warning. Someone hacked. The Veil. A message appeared. She is not your enemy, but she is not your prey either. Let her be. No name. No trace. But everyone knew where it came from. Someone who tried and failed. Someone who had looked into her eyes and never wanted to again. Final scene, far away. Planet in a quiet desert world. A young girl with a damaged visor watched the video of Ray. She turned to her father, a retired warrior. Is she real? He stared at the screen, remembering battles, remembering fear. Yes, he said softly. And I hope we never meet her. A week had passed since Ray returned from the bounty trap. Mars Base 12 was quiet, but not calm. Soldiers whispered. Officers looked over their shoulders. Even the tough ones didn't joke around her anymore. She didn't change, still walked with silent steps, still wore no armor, still barely spoke. But now, her presence was heavier, like standing near a silent storm. Chapter 1. The Visitor Late One. Night. A small cargo ship landed on the far side of the base. No flags. No announcements. Just one alien stepped out. He wore a black robe, tall and thin, with green glowing eyes. His name was Jir Talon, a speaker from the Unity Order, a group known for controlling minds through sound. Jir wasn't here to fight. He came for answers. He walked straight into the command center. I wish to see the one you fear, he said. General Hollis stood up. You mean Ray? Yes, Zir replied calmly. The silent one. Chapter 2. The room without words. Hollis allowed it. Ray sat in a simple white room. No weapons, no security. Shear stepped inside and closed the door behind him. I'm told you. Command through silence, he said. Ray didn't reply. Kier placed a silver disc on the table. It pulsed softly. This device will read your mind patterns when you speak. Still, Ray said nothing. Not afraid? He asked. She blinked once, then stood. He smiled. You think silence is stronger than sound? She took one slow step forward. Shear flinched. He didn't know why. The room got colder, or was it just in his mind? He spoke louder. I command armies. I make kings kneel. She stared at him. He tried to keep control, but his voice cracked, her stillness. It made his words feel weak. She didn't stop him. didn't argue. And yet, he dropped to one knee, sweating, shaking. "I don't understand," he whispered. Why do I feel small?" Ray turned her back, walked out, said nothing. Chapter 3. The Effect. Spread's word spread fast. He walked in proud. He came out, shaking. Talon never spoke of it again. The Unity Order stopped asking about humans. Soldiers around the base began changing too. If Ray entered a room, they stood straighter. If she walked by, they fell silent. She didn't give orders, but her silence was an order, and somehow they listened. Chapter 4. A New Threat. On the dark edge of the galaxy, a warship floated silently above a dead world. Inside was General Kroll, leader of the Drenak Swarm, a brutal alien force known for crushing rebel planets. He laughed as he replayed. "Ray's footage. She makes people afraid by standing still. Let's see how she handles chaos." He ordered a stealth attack on Mars Base 12, not with weapons, but with fear. Chapter 5. The fear gas. 2 nights later, Base 12's water system was poisoned with a rare alien chemical called Tharn Dusk, colorless, odorless. It triggered pure fear in the mind, waking the brain's darkest memories. By morning, strong human soldiers were crying in corners. One screamed at shadows, another couldn't speak, just shook. General Hollis wore a mask and moved through the hallways. Chaos. He found Ray sitting alone in the garden room. No mask, no panic. Still. "Ray," he shouted. "Did you drink the water?" She nodded. "But are you not affected?" "I was," she said quietly. "Then why aren't you shaking?" "I met my fears. I didn't run from them." He looked into her eyes. They were calm, still, unbroken. She stood and walked out. Chapter 6. The Voice of Courage. Ray didn't give a speech. She didn't shout. She didn't promise anything. She just walked through the halls, where soldiers cried and moaned and stood there. She knelt beside one young soldier and held his shoulder. He stopped crying. Others saw it. She moved to another, touched their hand. Slowly the madness began to fade, not from medicine, but from her presence. She didn't speak, but her silence commanded courage, and they obeyed. Chapter 7. General Kroll. Watches far away, General Kroll saw the failure of his plan. "She broke the fear gas," he whispered. "Impossible." He replayed the footage again and again. A woman, sitting in silence, while others obeyed. "Send a full strike force," he ordered. "No more games." Chapter 8. The Human Response. Back on Mars. Base 12. Hollis stood at the center. "We have enemies. Coming," he said. Soldiers looked nervous, but Ray was there too. She didn't stand on the podium. She didn't say anything. She just stood among them. One by one they looked at her, and their fear faded. Chapter 9. Final scene. Message to the stars. Someone recorded a short video of Ray walking through the base. No music, no voiceover. Just a calm woman walking between soldiers who stood taller when she passed. The video was titled, "She doesn't speak, but they obey." It went viral across space. Again, far across the galaxy, war drums echoed. The Drenak Swarm had made their move. Over 12 ships fully armed sped through deep space. Their leader, General Kroll, sat in the command chair. His teeth were sharp, his skin like iron. "No more tricks, no more fear gas," he said. "This time, we bring fire." Chapter 1. The Warning at Mars Base 12. A strange silence fell. Sensors beeped. The comms officer frowned. "Sir, something's coming." 12 ships. No signals. No ID. General Hollis stood. "How long?" 2 hours. Maybe less. Hollis stared at the screen. He didn't panic. But he knew they were outnumbered. He turned to his officers. Evacuate the civilians. Prepare all defenses. Get Ray. Chapter 2. The Calm. Before the fire, Ray stood in the garden room again. Peaceful. She was looking at a tiny plant sprouting through the soil. Hollis entered. They're coming. You knew, didn't you? Ray nodded. They're bringing their full force this time, he said. We may not win. She finally looked at him. We don't need to win. We need to change the story. He didn't understand, but she walked away before he could ask. Chapter 3. Ships in the sky turned black. Drenak warships covered the sun like metal clouds. Laser batteries hummed. Earth soldiers stood in formation, nervous but ready. In the center stood Ray, no armor, no helmet, just standing, watching. Chapter 4. The first blast. The Drenak fired the first shot. A red beam flew toward the base. It struck, but something strange happened. The shield flickered. Then, grew stronger. The engineers were confused. We didn't do that, one whispered. Another looked at Ray. She hadn't moved, hadn't blinked, but something had changed. Chapter 5. Landing party. Kroll sent ground troops, massive beasts with armor and blades. They landed hard. 20 of them stormed the ground. And Ray, she walked toward them, alone. Send backup, a soldier shouted. No, Hollis said. Watch. The beasts roared, ran toward Ray. She didn't stop, didn't flinch. One raised its blade and dropped it, crying in pain. No strike had hit it. No force had touched it, but its will cracked. Another beast fell to its knees, trembling. One turned and ran, screaming. In 60 seconds, the ground assault was over, without Ray lifting a hand. Chapter 6. Inside the ship, Kroll watched, stunned. What is this? Sorcery? His second-in-command growled. She must be using a mind weapon. No, Kroll whispered. She is the weapon. He slammed his fist. Prepare my personal drop pod. I'm going down myself. Chapter 7. The face-off. The sky split open as Kroll landed. He was massive, 7 feet tall, skin-armored, claws sharp. He stepped out and pointed at Ray. I came to finish this. Ray said nothing. He charged, roared, swung his blade with full force. She didn't move, didn't dodge. The blade stopped an inch from her face. Kroll froze, his muscles locked. His mind spun in fear. She looked at him, only that. And he fell to his knees, the mighty general broken. Whispers filled the base. She didn't even touch him. Chapter 8. Something bigger as Kroll knelt. Ships in the sky began retreating. Commander after commander canceled their attack. She defeated Kroll, they said. We are not staying. Hollis watched as the enemy left. No battle, no blood, just presence. Just Ray. Chapter 9. Aftermath. Later that night, Ray sat alone again in the garden room. The little plant had grown. Hollis approached. You did it. Ray didn't answer. He sat beside her. Why didn't you attack? I don't need to fight, she said softly. I let them fight themselves. Chapter 10. Across the galaxy, in the outer rims, even pirate gangs stopped raiding human ships. In royal courts, leaders banned missions to Earth. In hidden temples, monks whispered her name like a legend, not as a warrior, but as a force. Final scene. A young soldier's promise. A young recruit cleaned his rifle in silence. He looked at Ray's photo on the wall. She didn't blink, he whispered, but the galaxy did. He stood taller, smiled, and got back to training. The name Ray had spread across every sector. Some called her a weapon, others called her a ghost. But one thing was clear, she had defeated power without raising a hand. Yet, in the shadows of the galaxy, some refused to believe it. They whispered, it was luck, a trick. She can be broken. And so, a new force began to form. Chapter 1. The Shadow Pact. Deep within the ruined belt, 5 alien species gathered in secret. Each one had lost a leader, a fleet, or a planet because of Ray. They were bitter, powerful, and united. The leader of... The meeting was Telaka, a cybernetic war priest with glowing red eyes and metal skin. She uses fear, he growled. We use void logic. They planned something strange, something not physical, no guns, no armies. They would send a machine of thought, an AI built to break minds, not bodies. They called it Black Echo. Chapter 2. The Black Echo. Black Echo wasn't a ship, it was a signal. Pulse. It traveled light years in seconds, spreading through satellites, radios, even dreams. Wherever it landed, people felt lost, broken, confused. It didn't destroy cities, it dismantled confidence. On a planet called Talros 6, soldiers dropped their weapons and cried. On Orion Outpost 9, machines shut down just from sensing it. And now, they aimed it at Mars Base 12. Chapter 3. The first glitch at 200 hours, lights flickered at the base, doors locked themselves, alarms rang without reason, people screamed from nightmares they couldn't wake up from. A medic shouted, "We're under. Attack, but there's no enemy." In the center of the chaos, Ray walked the halls, still barefoot, still silent, her steps echoed over screams. Chapter 4. The Mind Room General Hollis met her outside the control core. "Ray, this isn't like before," he said. "It's in our minds. It's changing thoughts." She looked at the screen. Static. A whisper came from it. Faint. Cold. "You are nothing. You are weak." Ray stepped closer. "Don't," Hollis warned. "It could infect you." But she touched the screen, closed her eyes, and the whisper stopped. The static cleared, and for the first time, Black Echo went silent. Chapter 5. Echo recoils across the galaxy. In the control sphere where Black Echo was born, alarms blared. Tlakar jumped to his feet. "What happened?" An assistant screamed. "The signal is bouncing back." The AI began to twitch. "What did she do?" "She looked at it," the assistant whispered. "And it feared her back." Chapter 6. The reversal. The signal turned. Instead of spreading fear, it began absorbing it. Every frightened thought Ray had ever faced, every moment of pain, sadness, anger, was taken in by the machine. And the machine couldn't handle it. It cracked, screamed, and exploded. Chapter 7. The sky burns far above Mars. 5 enemy ships hovered. They had come to watch Ray fall, but instead their comms went dark. One by one they lost power. Their captains panicked. "Abort, retreat, shut it all down." But it was too late. The signal had come home, and with it, the fear they had tried to send came crashing back. Chapter 8. The moment of choice. Ray stood alone on the roof of the Mars command tower. The night was quiet again. General Hollis arrived beside her. "It's over. They lost." She didn't answer. He asked, "Why didn't you destroy them?" She looked at the stars. "I want them to remember," she said softly. "Not what I did, but what they tried, and how it broke them." Chapter 9. Across the galaxy, Telakar vanished, the Shadow Pact dissolved, and Black Echo was never rebuilt. The message was clear across the stars. You can't break what doesn't fight you. You only break yourselves trying. Final scene. Children of the stars. In a classroom on Earth, a child raised her hand. "Teacher, is Ray real? Or just a story?" The teacher smiled. She never spoke much, never shouted, never fired a shot. But, yes, she's real. The children looked up at the stars, in silent respect. The galaxy had changed. Whispers of Rey had reached every corner of space. Kings feared her. Generals avoided her. Machines refused to track her. But one last group remained, untouched. The Ancients of Arxos. They were not warriors. They were not soldiers. They were something older, something closer to gods. They ruled in silence from a planet of black crystal and cold light. They did not fear anything. Until now. Chapter 1. The Arxos Council on the Black Throne World. 12 beings sat in a perfect circle. Each one glowed with energy that had no form. Part matter, part time. They spoke through thought, not sound. This human disturbs the balance. She breaks fear without war. If she continues, others will learn. She must be tested. Being called Vorlith, glowing like a star about to collapse, was chosen. Go, the council ordered. See if her will can bend. Chapter 2. Arrival. Vorlith didn't arrive in a ship. He simply appeared, a shimmer of heat and light at the edge of Mars Base 12. No alarms triggered, no sensors reacted. Only Rey turned, and she knew. She walked out of the base alone. The wind was still, the air thick, and the stars above dimmed slightly, as if watching. Chapter 3. A Test. Without words, Vorlith didn't speak. He didn't need to. His presence alone pulled gravity sideways. The dirt around him floated in small orbs. Birds froze mid-air. Soldiers inside the base collapsed from pressure. Only Rey remained standing. Vorlith tried to enter her mind. Nothing. He tried to bend her shape, shift her time. Still, nothing. She stared, and something impossible happened. Vorlith stepped back. Just one step. But it was enough. He felt it. The fear. Not from her actions. From her stillness. From her refusal to react. She didn't try to fight, but she didn't yield either. She simply existed stronger than anything he had ever known. Chapter 4. The fall of light. Vorlith's energy began to flicker. His perfect shape cracked like glass. The stars above him dimmed again, and one thought entered his mind, one he had never known. I'm not above her. He fell to one knee, then vanished. Just like that. Gone. Chapter 5. The Silence. After inside the Arxos throne world, the other 11 gods felt it. They stood as one. She did not fight. She did not flee. And yet, he fell. We will not go after her. They erased her name from their vision and swore never to return to human space again. Chapter 6. The final file. General Hollis sat in his office late at night. A file arrived, sealed, no sender. He opened it. Inside were words from an old Arxos, language translated into Terran. She does not rise through power, she is power. She does not speak. The galaxy listens anyway. This human is not a threat. She is a truth. Hollis closed the file and smiled. Chapter 7. The Pilgrim's years passed. Rey left the base. No one knew where she went, but people came looking, not to challenge her, but to learn. Young warriors walked barefoot across deserts just to sit where she once stood. Pilots left flowers in orbit above Mars. Whole alien worlds stopped training in fear and started training in stillness. Her legend became more than a story. It became a way of being. Chapter 8. One final scene. In a quiet place between stars. An old traveler landed on a green moon. There was no city. No buildings, only a small house with a garden, and Rey, older now, still silent. The traveler stood across from her. "Tell me the truth," he asked. "Why didn't you ever fight them?" She looked up and finally spoke. "Only once. Because I never needed to." He felt his chest tighten, as if the whole galaxy had paused for that one moment. He nodded, bowed, and left. Final words on screen. They came with weapons. She didn't bring one. They came with power. She didn't move. They hit first. But the human didn't even blink before breaking them all.